This is the Drive-In Podcast. Take one. Bada bing, bada boom. Welcome to the 83rd episode of the Drive-In Podcast. On today's episode, we have the slap heard around the world, along with the biggest winners and losers from the 94th Annual Academy Awards. We also have a breakdown of the deleted scene featuring the Joker in The Batman. So use the bathroom now, grab that popcorn, and enjoy the 83rd episode of the Drive-In Podcast. Howdy doody, episode 83 of the Drive-In Podcast is here. Shout out Wes Welker. This is Dr. O on the horn. I am ecstatic to be joined by Ricky Flicks on this fine evening. Ricky Flicks, before I get into your introduction, I do have to mention the Oscars. The viewership came in, and we're pushing 15 million plus that saw the Oscars last night. How much, my question to you, Ricky Flicks, how much is that number due to a 56% increase, the slap heard around the world?
Yeah, it's got to be from that. It has to be.
Put a number
Everyone
to it.
viewing it.
Out of 15 million, how much are they tuned in because of the slap?
I'm still gonna say over 12 million was watching this, so I'm gonna say 3 million, maybe less, 2 million.
It's got to be a record for Twitter engagements too and Instagram engagements.
The video, the slap video, has 25 million views on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I remember when we put it up during the Oscars. It had 2 million within the first 10 minutes, which shows that low key people still care about the Oscars and people still care about celebrities. That's got to give us some hope for the future, Ricky Flicks.
Yeah, people still care about celebrities. You're right. And social media, they'll keep continuing to care about them. So there is some hope, but it wasn't a great night. What was it?
It was an exciting night, though, Ricky Flicks. I have to talk about my experience watching the show. So I tried to stream it on ABC, and I don't get cable, Ricky Flicks. So I got home right at 8 o'clock. So I was going to turn on my TV, hopefully start streaming on ABC, and hear Amy Schumer, unfortunately, do her monologue. I actually missed it. I actually missed the monologue because I could not stream. So I signed into our parents' cable network. ABC doesn't support the cable network that our parents have. So I actually had to sign up for YouTube TV on a free trial, and I watched it for one night, canceled it. But thank God I got to see maybe the most significant pop culture moment in the history of the world.
It might be the only time we ever get two celebrities fighting each other that aren't actually a boxing match.
It was like the ultimate source of reality TV without being reality TV. And I don't think I've seen a slap like that since JWoww against The Situation, maybe in season 2 or season 1 of the Jersey Shore. I don't think we'll ever get a moment like that again. And when I don't think I'm speaking in hyperbole when I say that was the most significant pop culture moment between celebrities ever. Can you think of another one that could kind of rival that one, let alone
Taylor
the Oscar
Kanye.
stage? Ooh, Taylor Swift, Kanye is a great one, Ricky Flicks. That rivals it. But yeah. That did not result in a physical assault and a potential arrest. That's the only argument against it.
It was the beginning of Kanye's craziness, though.
That's when he started. That could be the moment on the timeline, that turning point in his life where you started to notice this guy is he's got a screw loose. He's got a screw loose. And talk about having screws loose. We're gonna go over the losers of the Academy Awards today. Even though Will Smith takes away the golden statue, right, for Best Actor, should have been the highlight of his career, the peak of the mountain for him. He still somehow ends up as the loser of the night. I do need to say, Ricky Flicks, it was hilarious because we were driving back from Long Island, from going to the Islanders game. Beautiful, beautiful arena, brand new, right next to Belmont Park. But as we were driving home, I was getting out of the car, and Ricky Flicks says, yeah, we'll record on Monday night. And if something big happens, maybe we'll record right after the Oscars. But me and Ricky had a heck of a weekend. And the one thing that would keep us to actually record we couldn't muster up the energy. For the sake of content, I need to apologize. I'm going to put it on myself for not contacting Ricky Flex. He's going hand up. I think it's more on me. This is something I said, yes, we will do. And when we had the most significant Oscar moment in history, people were asking where were the drive-in podcast.
People were asking where was the preview show, our red carpet show.
Damn.
It was a miss on all fronts. It was a miss. But this episode, we're bouncing back. We had a gambling preview blog that got a lot of hits. So I know a lot of you listeners were definitely read that. But we're bouncing back starting right now.
But thinking about it now, like there's a reason why we're trying to build up the YouTube here, Ricky Flex. We got some great stuff on the YouTube. This episode will be on YouTube. And the fact that we already had our predictions on that show, you could have seen it anytime. We promoted the crap out of it. If you still want to see an electric podcast, I'd recommend going back and seeing how our predictions ended up panning out. We did okay. We both had our hits and misses. And I mean, if we want to talk about positives, we'll get into the winners. But the fact that we had Coda, you had Coda, didn't you? You had for Best Picture. We both had Power of the Dog.
So I said that I wanted to pick Coda but I just thought Power of the Dog, like 12 Oscars versus 3. Like what? I don't know how Coda won on all 3 of those. Like it's right when I saw the betting odds on Sunday turn negative or turn Coda to be the prohibitive favorite. I was like, crap, like, is it really going to do this? And that was way after our show, obviously, a week after. So I was like, I can't change my prediction, but Coda's going to win this thing. Like, it's insane how it won because obviously it's a feel-good movie, amazing movie to watch, but critically, like, technically speaking, like, definitely, like, probably not the best movie of the year, but that's a common theme with the Oscars. Common theme, Green Book, great example.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this was definitely a movie I was happy that it won Best Picture because it brought a sense of levity to the show that desperately needed it. And it seemed like whenever it was taking a wrong turn, they could always lean on either one of those 3 Oscar nominations with Coda, right, to pull through and then give us an amazing speech and give us this amazing sense of community within the Academy and whoever was at the Oscars there, that feel-good movie of the year. So we'll get to the winners today. But Ricky Flex, let's start out with the big loser of the night. We'll start off with Will Smith, a man who was walking into the Oscars, a prohibitive favorite for Best Actor, a one that was, as we said before, he was reaching the peak of the mountain, the pinnacle of his career, the peak of his powers. And the fact that he was front and center the entire night, him and Jada Pinkett Smith, right? No matter who was presenting, they were smack dab in the front, no seat fillers for Will Smith. Star of the show, baby. And what happens? Chris Rock steps up to the mic for the best documentary feature. So bringing attention to a lesser known category here. As you know, Chris Rock, stand-up savant, going up there, hitting a little shade at Jada Pinkett Smith for her haircut. She suffers from a hair loss condition. Maybe he wasn't aware of the time, but he makes the G.I. Jane 2 joke. Will Smith laughs at the joke on camera. But then you see the shaking of the head from Jada Pinkett Smith. And you got to think the camera starts to pan back to Chris Rock. What happens in that moment? Probably Will Smith, when he's not on camera, looks back at Jada Pinkett Smith, says that notices that she is uncomfortable with the joke. He stands up. He approaches Chris Rock. And what everyone thinks is a little bit of a horseplay in terms of maybe a bit that's going on. Will Smith takes a swing at Chris Rock and connects. I haven't seen a punch like that from Will Smith or connection like that since Ali. He nails him. Chris Rock, hands behind the back, does not stagger one bit. And then we have Will Smith sit down, start swearing, saying to keep his wife's name out of Chris Rock's mouth. And Chris Rock just in a wide open gasp saying, okay, dude, let's get to the Oscar. And he kind of fumbled the bag a little bit afterwards. The viewers at home, we had this situation where things are getting censored. We don't know exactly what's happening. And that's where the internet broke. The internet absolutely snapped in half during this moment and led to one of the most culturally significant moments of the history of the internet and the history of pop culture. So, Ricky Flex, what was your reaction upon seeing this event happen live and unfold in front of your eyes?
When Chris Rock made the joke, I thought borderline below the belt, but then again, it's the Oscars. Like anything can happen. And Chris Rock is Chris Rock. Like this is what he does. Jada and Will Smith caught a little heat in the opening monologue from Amy Schumer. So it wasn't like the first joke against them for the night. So she just must have had it. And Will Smith protecting his wife, who they are very public about their issues. And that's kind of kind of their fault.
Their own downfall.
That they're so public about their like toxic relationship, not toxic, but maybe a little toxic. So, but when Will Smith is freaking storming the stage, you're thinking it's a bit. You got Chris Rock yelling, "Oh, Richard!" Like not even using Will Smith.
He said Richard. He
thought it was a bit. He thought like, oh, he's gonna do like improv with me.
I thought he was gonna do a swing over the top and like just like do a couple fake gut punches and stuff like that. Maybe a shove.
Right.
Nothing.
But like, and then when he swung at him, I was like, this has to be a bit. But then you see Chris Rock's like shock.
Audio cut.
The audio cut. But then they get the screen back to Will Smith. You know, like you could read his lips saying what you said, but then you see Lupita Nyong'o's face, the shock in her face from what's going on. Then it's not a bit. Like this is like very real. And then obviously the Australian / Japanese versions of the show got released, and then all hell broke loose on the internet. And the most awkward award show of all time, most awkward moment, maybe, like that must have been insanely awkward in that room.
Insanely awkward, even for the audience once we figured out what was happening. But what made it extremely awkward is that you knew Will Smith was about to take the stage in about 20 minutes to receive an Oscar, his first ever Oscar. And then people were wondering, it was the most highly anticipated Oscar speech that's ever been given. And Ricky Flex, I got to tell you, this might be my least favorite Oscar speech of all time. Based on the circumstance, he tried to kind of curb it in terms of a way of reflecting on the actions he just took, but calling himself a protector of his family and a vessel of love after you just potentially might get arrested for assaulting Chris Rock. I was literally cringing.
He didn't even say sorry.
He said sorry to the Academy. How do you not apologize to Chris Rock there? You can think about the hosts in past years. Think about Ricky Gervais at the Golden Globes, the way he attacked certain celebrities. I mean, honestly, what Chris Rock said, obviously is a bit offensive when you take into context, like the condition that Jada Pinkett Smith has.
Yeah.
But maybe he didn't know. Maybe he didn't, you know, people don't keep tabs on everyone. But when you live that public of a lifestyle and you see like everything that's happening between the red table talks, Will Smith, his wife caught up in entanglement with her son's friends, I think this is also more about the masculinity of Will Smith. Like, I have to do something here.
But you could say it's not masculine at all because he basically was laughing at the joke and then he got forced to go up there.
Yes, but I think he got forced because he actually looked at Jada Pinkett Smith and he said, like, wow, like, she's upset by this. And what is the reaction going to be on social media? How is Will Smith already perceived by the wider public that maybe aren't aware of like what he did in the late 90s, early 2000s? He's known as the guy on the red table talk with the meme, the crying meme. It's the most famous crying meme other than Jordan, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be up there, man. So it's like he's reflecting on the fact that he's kind of looked at as soft. And it's him stepping up to the plate at that moment and then laying hands on Chris Rock for disrespecting his wife. He looks at it as like a sense of pride for him, you know, and it's something a way where he can, it's really cringe to like think about, but you got to think it's got to be going through his mind on the biggest stage here. He's like, once again, am I going to let someone disrespect my wife for the world to see? And he decided to do something about it. And if this was at the Golden Globes, I think it have a little less heat to it. But the fact that it was at the Oscars,
well, that's another
ceremony
thing.
of such prestige, and that is of such like it seems like it's so beneath it to have such a physical assault, and just having that happen. Everyone was just in a gasp, jaw dropping awe. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
No, and I think it also plays to the Oscars setup here. Like, you made it like a Golden Globe setup. They had it was at the Dolby Theater, right? It wasn't at like the old style when you have like the movie theater style seats. You had the tables. You had the tables that allowed this open landscape here, and that Golden Globes feel, like you had that, and you had that like openness to it. You did.
Are you blaming this assault on the setup of the tables at the Academy Awards? I personally love it because you can have some navigation between those hosting, between those presenting. I thought it was kind of cool.
No, I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm just saying it definitely felt less like what you just said, prestigious, because you just kept thinking of the Golden Globes every time they showed the audience. That's what I felt. That's why I didn't like last year's as much either. And I didn't like how the host was going around like that. Like Amy Schumer, another loser of the night, our plump boy, and Kirsten Dunst. Absolute a seat filler. She's nominated for an award, for God's sake.
Put some respect. Put some respect on Mary Jane Watson's name.
We're putting respect. We're calling seat fillers the two Oscar-nominated actors this year. Like, what? Like, the rights on Amy Schumer to do this, but it's because of the setup. The setup allowed this.
You are blaming this mishap and this disrespect towards our favorite actors, and also this physical assault on the setup of the Oscars.
All right, not the assault, but it does like 5%
accessibility.
5% is on that.
If Will Smith was in like the third row in a regular setting,
does he
get up? Does he get up?
He does not get up.
He has to jump over Leonardo DiCaprio, and he has to jump over all these other guys.
Who also took a shot tonight.
The fact that he was in pole position. They were begging him to jump up on stage with this setup. But I did read that Amy Schumer actually just posted something regarding the Kirsten Dunst incident.
Yes,
it was cringy, and she said it actually was planned. Like, she did communicate with Kirsten Dunst that this was going to happen. It's just it's still, even that they planned that out, to pick Kirsten Dunst, right, in that situation, so beloved by audiences. It means so much to both, obviously, comic book fans like us, as our Mary Jane Watson, my first ever crush, not a big deal, but someone that means so much, and to kind of like call her, quote unquote, a seat filler, it's just disrespectful. Just disrespectful no matter what. You know what I mean?
Incredibly disrespectful. But if we go back to the Will Smith thing here for a second.
Yeah. Let's get back on task.
Well, it's also crazy. Okay. So we mentioned what happened, but what happened during the commercial break? His publicist, whatever, pulls him aside, tells him basically how to do his speech, how to like adjust it, tells him to do the speech, what you said about protecting his family, like Richard Williams did. Like, that's crazy. After seeing King Richard, that's disrespectful to the Williams sisters, who were right there, who were also losers in the night of the night.
We'll get to it.
In many different ways, but also Denzel, Tyler Perry, Bradley Cooper, all consoling him. It's like, dude, this guy just committed a crime, and we're just consoling him, saying, "It's, oh my God, you're gonna be okay." It's like it's like someone just died close to him, and they're like saying sorry. No, this guy is in the guilty. This guy should have
been kicked out, dude.
Yeah, people are saying that he shouldn't have even been able to present after that. Or
what
not present.
What a predicament, though. What a predicament, because the Academy, they probably have no idea what to do. They've never seen a moment like this at this level, especially with increasing audiences this year. They're like, okay, we were kind of relying on the Will Smith moment to kind of
save the Oscars,
to drive people to come see the Oscars. And then they kind of see this unfold in front of their eyes. They're just like, I think we're just going to let this fly, because they know what this means for the internet and potential viewers. Like, I think if this was like 10 years ago and he punched someone like that, or open hand slapped them, there's a chance that he just gets kicked out. You know, it seems so beneath the Oscars, right? And what the Oscars represents, symbolizes, and everything, to have a moment like that and still have Will Smith sit front and center. But you notice the camera didn't really go to him like after that moment. It was just all in anticipation of him taking that stage. What is he going to say? And they were hoping the charm of Will Smith was going to save this speech a little bit and save the moment. Made it worse. It really did. I think this is my least favorite Oscar speech of all time, Ricky Flicks. All time.
I completely agree. And it wasn't the only bad speech of the night, or not necessarily good speech of the night, but this was just terrible. Terrible.
Yeah. So Will Smith, we'll definitely bring him up later on. We talk about other losers of the night. But Ricky Flicks, let's go into another loser of the night. What else you got here?
Well, real quick, another loser here. Adam McKay. We haven't talked about the monologue much, but Adam McKay, huge loser of the night.
Amy Schumer seems like someone that would have been cast in Don't Look Up.
Yeah, that's actually true.
You know what I mean?
She literally called him out, saying like no one, like the Academy clearly didn't look at critics' reviews of the movie, of a Best Picture nomination, also screenplay nomination and editing. I don't agree with any of those nominations, but to call him out like that at an award show where he is competing to win and was nominated, competing to win at these, that's just so embarrassing. By Amy Schumer. It wasn't Billy Crystal. It wasn't Chris Rock, who also, like, I'm just saying, like Amy Schumer could become at that status maybe one day, but not nearly the status of them right now.
That's bold.
I know. I'm not a particularly Amy Schumer fan, but for her to call you out is bad. Like, you know, that is so bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Amy Schumer actually came back to host because the 56% increase from this year. And they'd be like, okay, maybe she was a part of like the reason why like the viewership went up. Maybe people love to hate to watch her. You know what I mean? But
I didn't think the monologue was that bad.
I didn't see it. As
I know, before. But I rewatched. So like, it wasn't that bad. Leo got called out. Leo, he said,
I saw that.
Yeah, doing great to save the world for his girlfriends. Yeah, but and also at the end, I thought she was good too. And her final thing she said, which was like saying like, oh, like what happened here? Because like ever since, because she did the Spider-Man bit, but she wasn't seen for like an hour and a half until the very end of the show. So it was good. She spin zoned it very well, saying like, oh, I don't know what happened here. Why is it so awkward in this room? I thought that was hilarious.
I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast, and he had Jimmy Kimmel on. And
Jimmy Kimmel, that would have been good
because he's hosted multiple Oscars, and he was there for the Moonlight situation, which arguably was the lowest point in the Oscars history, or like the most significant cultural moment in terms of like egregious mistakes that were made. So he could sort of relate to what was happening here, and he said that if I was the host of the Oscars during that moment, I would want the mic back immediately after Will Smith's mistake, because right, a lot of times the jokes being made, you can write out as many as you want. What's going to get the biggest laughs is the responses to in the moment type of events.
Yes.
So what would Amy Schumer have said if she came up to the mic directly after Chris Rock and Will Smith had their like snafu? That would have been fascinating to see. It could have brought a moment of levity and could have brought maybe the funniest moment in the history of the Oscars.
Bring up After Earth.
Oh my gosh!
But no,
she would have been like the sequel to Ali has officially been greenlit. It would have been great. But I just think of like the moments that could have been as a result of it. Like there's a reason why this person's hosting. You think they have great comedic chops. Imagine like Regina Hall stepping up saying something. She was kind of
that's another thing.
She was kind of like the wild card of the group. I didn't necessarily like her. But I thought that she might have been someone good to like break up this situation and kind of bring that levity to it, because I don't think she necessarily was a good fit as an Oscar host.
I didn't like her. I didn't like Wanda Sykes. I didn't like the bits. The museum bit I thought was awful. A new Oscars museum that you're trying to get people to. You're going to say how much it sucks. That's how we're going to promote this brand new museum that you spent millions of dollars on. Great pitch, producers. You guys are geniuses. Like, they are just so bad at their job. They're awful. Like, These bits were awful, like, last night. They were terrible.
So in talking about like the winners and losers, I had the Oscars as a winner of the evening just because of the 56% audience increase and like the notoriety that it got, because people were kind of out on the Oscars until this moment. After the Will Smith slap heard around the world, everyone's like, I'm kind of back in on the Oscars. But if that slap doesn't happen, this show might be a failure. it might be a failure, right?
Yeah.
You get the
It was boring.
We had the 10 million viewers last year, and with lesser known films, we got wider known films this year. Okay. You got the Oscar fan vote that came in. You got like major superhero movies making a comeback, Marvel making a comeback, the Academy Awards. We got Zack Snyder, which we'll talk about, making a notable appearance at the Academy Awards. But it just felt that the Academy could not shake the fact that they are just so cringeworthy with a lot of their sketches. And there could have been some amazing moments here when you talk about the Godfather's 50th anniversary.
Another loser of the night.
And like having the fact that Francis Ford Coppola shows up with De Niro, Pacino, and for which should be an electric moment, but you don't even let De Niro, Pacino talk. You just let
and
Francis
it's right
Ford
after
Coppola
it's right after the Will Smith. It's the next thing after Will Smith slap.
And it's cringy, and like you're setting it's like some modern day hip hop, right? It's just like it doesn't really fly. But then also you have moments like, I mean, it feels like we've had 20 Bond anniversaries at the Oscars, you know? It's just like, okay, like every 10 years, we're just going to keep on doing this. But then also thinking about Pulp Fiction. I love seeing these reunions that were happening, right? In terms of, but I don't like the cringeworthiness of Travolta and Uma Thurman dancing like that for too long of amount of time, you know?
Yeah, way
and also,
too long.
Just not being very creative with the jokes. Like Samuel L. Jackson, just ad-lib it, dude. Just do something else, because what they're writing is not going to be great for you. And then finally, like you have like the reunions. Like, why is White Men Can't Jump getting an Oscar reunion? What is happening right now? I know they just had the reboot announced with Jack Harlow, but like, does anyone care about a White Men Can't Jump remix? I saw like beforehand, they're talking about Rosie Perez, like, oh, so for her first return to the Oscar in 30 years. I mean, who was asking to see Rosie Perez, dude? Who?
The Oscars, another loser of the night is old Hollywood. Hollywood struggled, or they just shouldn't have been on. They weren't physically able to.
Dude, that's a shot at Liza Minnelli.
Like, she's obviously suffering. Like they should not have put her in that position. They put her in a bad place.
That should have had a rehearsal. Right. Like
that was just not.
Let's see if she can.
They did not prepare her, or like that was just not right what they did. Like it wasn't at all. The Anthony Hopkins was awkward. He was very weird.
He didn't seem natural up there. I was shocked.
Yeah.
Someone that
was
like
very
maybe
weird.
It was too big for the moment, and then he like makes that comment towards Will Smith. I'm just like, dude, let it go. Do not say it.
I will say I did like the Kevin Costner like kind of acceptance speech, but he's the presenter. But it's like that's not the place, bro. Like what are we doing?
Before Kevin Costner got up there, he was probably thinking in his head like, I gotta save this thing. Everyone needs to hear from Kevin Costner. You know, he's like, everyone has to hear from what's his name? What's his name in the show? Roy? Is it Roy? What's his damn name in the show? Yellowstone.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember.
But he was basically playing himself in Yellowstone.
Yeah,
that's what he was doing. I was like, dude, like this is the Oscars first of all, and you're like making a callback to like kind of like this show. I mean, you could do Dances with Wolves and make a connection there, but like it just felt off.
And then like we talked about Francis Ford Coppola and The Godfather, the honorary Oscars, they just said at the end, Amy Schumer goes, oh, shout out Samuel Jackson and Danny Glover for winning the honorary Oscars. You didn't even do anything except call them out.
Massive.
Yeah.
Like a 10-minute segment, huge speech. Nothing. Yeah.
And like the fact like the Oscars is so white and it's two prominent black men in Hollywood.
Bad
like
look.
Terrible look. Like literally the producer, I think the Oscars were losers, huge losers of the night. Like this slap, honestly, you could say it was it did save them, but this is the second least watched Oscars, even with the slap. Not good. This isn't good. Streaming could save them to get more people to watch movies in general and then actually watch the Oscars. And then maybe after seeing the slap, you could say, oh, things might get crazy at the Oscars. But that's like a Golden Globes mindset. And what happens with the Golden Globes? We didn't even have a broadcast this year. So we'll just get back to that and get even worse than where we are. Right. Can't be doing that.
Speaking of, you talk about streaming services, another big loser of the night, it's got to be Netflix. And we'll combine this with the Power of the Dog. Power of the Dog, Ricky Flex, you know how many Oscar nominees it had?
12.
You know how many it won? One Oscar win for the Power of the Dog, and that was for the inevitable Best Director for Jane Campion. Got nominated for 4 acting awards, came away with 0, zilch. Okay. Cinematography, score, empty handed. Talk about Netflix making this push, right? In the Oscar realm, and seeing Apple TV come away as a big winner for tonight with Coda winning Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor. I mean, Netflix has got to be crushed. They've been working for nearly a decade now on these type of films, and it seems like Netflix, what kind of films are they trying to make? You see films like the Adam Project that come out, right? And Red Notice, like they want to just get as many eyeballs on the screen as possible. But then you have like the Power of the Dog trying to be this critical powerhouse. It seems like they are just dipping their hands in too many categories right now, too many potential types of films. And it seems like they're not really pulling it off right now. Like Apple TV, they kind of went in on just making these like prestigious and like critically acclaimed type of like projects. And it seems like it worked out for them in like basically the first year they were eligible or second year they were eligible. So it was just interesting to see Apple TV enter the fold streaming service game, win an Oscar so early. First streaming service movie to win Best Picture. So what are your thoughts on Netflix kind of floundering here and then Apple TV on the rise?
You basically said it here. It's quality over quantity here at the Oscars. It's Netflix's model. You get your Brights, you get your Adam Projects, you get your Red Notices, and then you get your Power of the Dogs, your Romas, your Manx. But Apple TV, they're not looking for the Adam Project. They might have some bad or lesser critically acclaimed shows on Apple TV Plus, but they still get like recognition at the Emmys, or like they tried, like they're not bad, like purposely bad projects. Like they are trying for that quality. And Netflix, like they have the highest turnover rate of any like streaming service. They have so many one and done shows, one season and they're canceled. They just throw money around like it means nothing. Apple is actually trying to build something.
Yep.
And this is clearly a huge, huge loss for Netflix, who's probably the biggest loser of the night besides Will Smith, I would say. Like you said, they worked so hard for this. They spent billions of dollars. And what's in their future now? They have a Red Notice franchise. They have more action franchises like the Chris Evans, Ryan Gosling's, Ana de Armas franchise coming here.
Gray Man.
The Gray Man. They're going more into action than quality. So it looks like this is just going to continue. And Netflix, like, they're not getting into sports, which is a easy customer acquisition where you can get free subscribers, basically. Like because you have loyal fans to these sports teams that will automatically subscribe to your streaming service if you play their teams. Netflix is the only streaming service with HBO Max, but HBO Max has a historical catalog and they own their properties that isn't getting the sports. Apple TV is getting into sports. There's rumors they might get Sunday Ticket, but right now they just have the MLB and they're trying to get more. You have Hulu, you have hockey and all the ESPN properties there. A lot of sports there. Peacock, you have obviously the Olympics, soccer, and more. It's just huge missed opportunity here for Netflix. Quality over quantity still wins. And guess what? Next year, it's even harder for them because
Killers of the Flower Moon, bro.
Scorsese, Leo
Apple
De Niro
TV might win back-to-back Best Pictures, dude.
It's not good for Netflix, man. This is awful for them. And more people, after seeing Coda win Best Picture, what always happens after a movie wins Best Picture, particularly one that isn't like very well known, more people see it. So how do you see it? You only have to see it on Apple TV. If you don't already have Apple TV because you don't want Ted Lasso, now you will. And then you're going to watch Ted Lasso. Like it's just going to be a never-ending cycle here.
You got to think that Netflix is really going to pay attention to Apple TV's numbers the next 2 months. Because looking at this strategy, how they're going in with filmmakers like Steven Spielberg and David Fincher, right, creating projects for Netflix, is it worth it? Let's see what the streaming numbers will look like for like Apple TV with the Best Picture win with Coda. So I think they're going to be paying attention there, and it's going to really direct how they're going to go on with the future of their business. Right? What are you going to say, Ricky?
And like they had Scorsese before, they had him for The Irishman. They had him. Yeah. And they have all these other great directors. Fincher, who's still desperately looking for a next Oscar here. They have Spielberg, But look at what happened with Spielberg this time around, and he made an amazing movie. It's just going to get tougher here. The competition is bigger than it's ever been with these streaming services. This is what Hollywood is now, is with streaming, and Netflix is now, I won't say behind, but they definitely are not like the perennial leaders anymore.
And you think about like Netflix recruiting talent, all right, gaining IP, but how much is that worth when it comes to the Oscars anymore? What did we just see with Coda? What did we just see with Coda? No big name Oscar, no big name actors, okay? Not a big name director. Yet it came away with a Best Picture win over names like Denis Villeneuve, over names like Steven Spielberg, right? Having over Jane Campion, right?
Guillermo del Toro,
like Oscar winners. It's not as much about the names anymore, right? There's just so much different content out here, and there's so many like young and also creative minds within the business that it's almost like we're just looking for the best pieces of art rather than the most recognizable pieces of art or recognizable artists to be correlated with good art. You know what I mean? So it's just like the fact that we had Coda here, it feels like a game changer. It really does. And then going on with other losers here, Ricky Flex, Paul Thomas Anderson, our boy, loser of the night, one of the losers.
Okay.
He didn't
Spin Zone.
I believe only nominated for 3 Oscars, right? Paul Thomas Anderson's Licorice
Director,
Pizza.
writing, Best Picture.
So only nominated for 3, comes away with 0, but PTA obviously not maybe not one of his most promoted films and not ones that had a great chance at winning, but the fact that he now has 11 nominations and still has yet to have an Oscar win, you got to be itching to see what he could come out with next, and if that project will be more less idiosyncratic, less personal, but rather one that the Academy would find more appealing, because this dude deserves an Oscar. It just sucks that we haven't gotten it yet. It seems like his time will come though.
It's clear that he needs a big star in his next movie, because I think that's what held Licorice Pizza back here, particularly with the advertising and promotion of this movie. He didn't have the stars as the lead actors and actresses of this movie. So that made it tough for people to see it, because people want to see the stars on the big screen. You didn't, and this wasn't streaming anywhere. Tough. But Spin Zone, what did I just say? You need the biggest stars in your movie to win an Oscar. Maybe Coda just proved that wrong, but maybe for Paul Thomas Anderson,
need nominations.
Do we bring back Daniel Day-Lewis? Do we bring him back? Can you bring him back?
Like
unretire.
This is
like
like
Tom
Brett
Brady.
Favre
This
coming
thing.
Back.
Brett Favre. That would be amazing. Whatever Paul Thomas Anderson does is going to. Yeah, I won't say it's the best movie he's ever done, because I don't think it's possible. But I would bet so much money on that movie to win an Oscar. He's going to come back with like ferocity. His you see Belfast beat him for original screenplay, and that basically won because it's Kenneth Branagh. He's due for an Oscar. His probably last chance he'll ever get one, and it's his personal story. His personal story beat Paul Thomas Anderson's personal story. He's going to take offense to that.
I just think like he didn't have this one in line for like Oscar acclaim like his other films. It felt like, because we talked about the promotion, like the trailer came out, the movie came out a month later in limited theaters. Like it didn't have the build up like his other movies have. Like we didn't even know the name of the movie until like we had a hint of it in the summer. We're like, is it called Licorice Pizza? We thought it was called something else. Like we didn't know what the title was going to be. Doggy Bottom. We just didn't know what it was going to be, and it's just okay. And then it's here, but it's Paul Thomas Anderson, so it's going to be good, and it's going to be an Oscar nominated movie. But is it going to have the pull that these other movies that he's had have had at the Oscars? You know, it just didn't didn't seem like it was there. Also, Ricky Flex, we brought up the popularity in streaming services, how huge it is for Coda, an Apple TV film, to win Best Picture. This is a loser for us as movie theaters. Loser for us in movie theaters. When you think about the movies that came out, did not win. There was a lot of Best Picture nominees that were available on streaming. When you look at Don't Look Up, Power of the Dog, and then we have basically the theatrical experiences. Look at Dune also.
The worst performers.
Dune also streaming, but also in theaters. The hybrid type of release. I was gonna say Dune.
Nightmare Alley.
West Side Story.
Nightmare
Alley. Like all just seemed like they never really had a shot at Best Picture. Licorice Pizza. It just seemed like they were on the outside looking in compared to these streaming movies, which is like shocking and shows a turning of the tide, right? Any thoughts on our movie theaters kind of getting shut down here?
And that's what it is. Belfast. another one. And like they were the worst performers out of the best pictures, probably besides Belfast winning an original screenplay. And I felt like again, that was just Kenneth Branagh has to get an Oscar at some point in his life. He's been nominated 8 times. He's got to get one, similar to Paul Thomas Anderson in the future. But he just makes more quality a lot more frequently than Kenneth Branagh. Death on the Nile, perfect example. Yeah, no, it's sad. I will say movie theaters are still like they always will be relevant. Superhero movies, events, just big events, movie theaters will always be that. And I'm not gonna, so like it's not the death of the movie theaters. It's just it sucks that literally everything that won tonight was available being streaming. Like that can't be good.
It felt like a turning of the tide, dude. It really did. And it's the fact that we're not going to be able to see cinema in cinemas anymore. That's sad. It looks like that's coming to a head here. And it seems like all these like great cinema like filmmakers, these directors are now hitting streaming services. We talked about Fincher, we talked about Spielberg, we talked about Scorsese, right? Jane Campion, right? These guys, they're all in streaming now because they notice that's the medium that people want to see. So I just had to bring that up. I don't want to get sad on us here.
Those movies just don't make as much money at the box office anymore. They just don't. It's all action movies and superhero movies, blockbusters. So those movies don't win Oscars, as clearly shown with the fan votes. Like none of those movies were nominated for an Oscar except for visual effects. So it's just like all the movies that we're going to see here at the Oscars will be streaming. So good thing for the Oscars, I guess. More people see your movies. Hopefully they see the show. Bad for movie theaters.
And you brought up the superhero movie aspect. We do have to talk about the Twitter fan vote here, and we'll go into some winners of the night. Low key, Zack Snyder dominated the Oscars, dude. Low key, when you go to the Oscar cheers moment, the Flash entering the Speed Force, I could see all the Snyder fans like yes, it wasn't even a movie.
Same with Army of the Dead. Oh yeah.
But like the fact that you had the Oscar cheers moment, you could just imagine the Snyder heads like waiting for this one award, right? Tailgating and then going inside for this one moment at the Academy Awards, and then being absolutely elated at the fact that Zack Snyder was getting recognized in the biggest stage possible for Zack Snyder's Justice League, a movie that debuted the original Justice League in 2017, 5 years ago. To have this like Oscar cheers moment available, and that was like of all time. It wasn't just like last year. The Twitter fan vote, like number 5 was like Neo dodging bullets. They like Dream Girls mixed in there. I have no idea how the hell that was in there. The Spider-Man team up was number 2.
Dude, the Johnny Depp
Endgame was number 3. The Johnny Depp. How did the Oscars? I'll talk about them screwing up. How did they not recognize that this was going to happen when you left it up to online fandom?
We all knew this would happen. We all knew. We said it. We knew either Snyderverse
out of touch
or Spider-Man No Way Home were going to win these awards. We knew it.
Yeah.
The Oscars somehow, the producers are just that stupid. That's why the Oscars are the losers of the night.
They're so out of it. That how like the fact that you left this up to a hashtag, like the king of the hashtag are the Snyder heads, the
Yes.
Snyder cult. They basically invented like the Hollywood hashtag. So Zack Snyder, it was kind of hilarious to see him get this moment, and it's hilarious to think about like the moment the Snyder cult had in their own homes, but also the lackluster reaction from like those in the crowd, because I would bet maybe 3% of the crowd had seen Zack Snyder's Justice League, and that includes like Jason Momoa, who's like in the movie. He probably saw it along with probably, I don't know who else was in it that was there. Like, but Affleck wasn't there probably.
Willem Dafoe wasn't there.
And yeah, you didn't.
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman. Was she in it? Maybe she saw it.
Aquaman. I don't know.
No idea.
She definitely didn't see it.
It was just hilarious to see like on Twitter how it exploded. It was like such a big deal, and people, it was very polarizing, obviously.
Army of the Dead winning best moment,
but also just like the entering the Speed Force, and everybody's sitting there is like, what the hell's happening right now? What? And they didn't even know that moment even existed. And seeing like the Spider-Man like being number 2 there, Andrew Garfield's nominated, like he's like, what the hell is happening right now? How the hell is Marvel not winning this category? Like this seemed like it was built for Marvel to gain recognition for Marvel movies at the biggest stage, but it ends up being Zack Snyder in a director's cut that actually gets all the shine. God damn.
Director's cut,
Kevin
baby.
Feige just punching the ceiling right now. Punching the ceiling.
Creative filmmakers. That's the winner of the night. Getting what you want. No, but in all honesty, how dumb is that? They can't do that again.
And the fact, like, like Zack Snyder wasn't there to accept it or anything. Like it seemed like Zack like should have
Oh,
had him.
that's
there.
another thing. That's another thing. How dumb the
He got
Oscars
recognized
is.
twice.
You got recognized twice at the Oscars. Guess what you get? That was your award. Is you having your little clip shown. That was the award. Yet they said like an honorary moment. That was the honorary moment. It was equal footing for all the top 5.
Couldn't give him anything. Like he doesn't get a statue or anything. You know, it just felt like
oh.
we decided to like. It's like it felt really condescending. We're like, yeah, we just made sure that we showed a clip of your movie, so therefore you should be happy. You know?
Good thing the Oscars did this year. Say something good about the Oscars. They brought back Oscar clips for the Best Picture. That was cool. I like that.
Loved it. I did like the clips overall. They picked great ones this year too. They were a little more extended compared to what they usually are.
The Parallel Mothers one was bad, but yes.
A lot of times they struggle picking like the moment, you know, and then it's just like lackluster. And then they show their faces of the actors. And they're like, yeah, that kind of like wasn't the best moment. But this year they did a pretty good job selecting it. Other winners of the night, Dune. Freaking Dune. 6 Oscar wins, most of any movie. Denis Villeneuve. Disrespectful in the fact that he wasn't nominated for Best Director, but I think it was shown throughout the night that it was such an egregious mistake not to nominate him. It really was for no acting nominations and all these technical categories. What an achievement like Dune was. And we talked about how hard it was to adapt a book that so many people had tried to before. When you talk about David Lynch, you talk about the series that came out for a lot of viewers when they were kids, like that tried to be adapted. I just think it was great to see Dune racking up awards at the beginning of the night, even though it wasn't shown on screen. And it goes to show like Dune Part 2, this could be the moment for Denis, and this could be the moment for Dune. We're looking at maybe the favorite for Best Picture a couple years from now.
Yeah, no doubt. I think this set it up perfectly for just a Lord of the Rings, Return of the King type run for Denis and Dune. This was perfect for him. This was like a similar vibe to Mad Max Fury Road a little bit, I would say. Even though George Miller, like I think he did win for Best Director. So I guess not completely, but didn't win Best Picture though. But I would definitely say this definitely set up Dune for Best Picture. So that's winner for Dune. But I also say Oscars, another loser of proof that it's a loser. You have the most popular movie probably nominated here. Well, Spider-Man No Way Home was on visual effects, but I guess like box office success, one of the biggest box office success of the year, one of the most streamed movies of the year, and you don't put the awards that they're nominated for in the show, but you kind of do because you like portrayed it like you snuck in the acceptance speeches and you snuck it into the show to make it act like it's live, but it's not, and it's obvious that it's not, but it's like they tried to make it seem like it was live.
It was sketchy the entire night.
Terrible. And another thing is that Jason Momoa and Josh Brolin, all 8 awards that were pre-recorded, they were the hosts and presenters for every single one of them, and they only showed them once.
Those are 2 massive movie stars.
Yeah.
Massive that you're like not.
There were so many
on screen.
Yeah, so many questionable presenters.
You showed Jacob Elordi from Euphoria, who seemed
with
like
Rachel Zegler.
He was a stand-in. He was like, this is what Ansel Elgort, every role that Ansel Elgort was going to have. Jacob Elordi is the guy who's going to get it now because the Oscars said, you look just like him.
Yes, literally. When I said that she was with Rachel Zegler, it's like you're literally making us think about this. You're making us think about it. So it's again the Oscars, terrible planning, awful. Like, why aren't we having the biggest movie stars or biggest people like presenting awards? Who's like the most talked about? Like, if you look at the top 10 things that were talked about last night, it was like obviously Will Smith, Chris Rock, Jada. But then after that, who was next? Andrew Garfield. Well, okay. But people that were actually at the Oscars last night, Andrew Garfield. Why isn't he presenting an award?
There's 3 Spider-Men.
Should have been presenting.
How did the 3 Spider-Men not present an award together? Tobey Maguire.
That's a great idea, Doctor.
Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland. Do you want to talk about getting eyeballs? Having those 3 show up would have been amazing.
Who was in the most movies this year? Willem Dafoe. Put him out there.
Wasn't even a
Zendaya. Yeah, you never know. Zendaya. Get her out there. Zoe Kravitz was on there, but it was with Jake Gyllenhaal. No offense to Jake, but like Robert Pattinson, where are you at? You're the Batman, the hottest movie in America right now.
Dude.
They're everywhere. Get Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz together on the stage. They dominated the press tour. Everyone's talking about how great they look together. Or guess what? The 2 hottest movies were the last 2 weeks at the box office. Dog, Lost City. Get Channing Tatum with Zoe Kravitz. They're a couple on the stage together. What are we doing? Let's think
Why
better
did we
about
have
this.
P. Diddy introduce Francis Ford Coppola, Al Pacino, and Robert De Niro? What is P. Diddy doing? And he was the one that was introducing him after the fallout of the Will Smith incident. What are we doing? How did you not have someone else? Maybe you should have done maybe someone who has a relationship with De Niro or Pacino, like introducing them or something.
Robert Duvall.
P. Diddy. Sean
Old
Combs.
Hollywood. I just said that. Yeah.
This makes no sense.
Oscars, losers.
Last big winner of the night, Jessica Chastain. Good for her, dude. I felt so happy for her. She looked amazing. She seemed like she was like glowing, and she seemed like she had it was maybe not her, obviously not her best performance. I love her in Zero Dark 30. She has a great number of other films she was nominated for, but Isaac Tatum Fame, not her best film, maybe not even her best performance, but it was great. She got her shine. It felt like an achievement award, and she said at such a young age. I was a little surprised that they decided to do this so early, because she's a lock to be nominated at some other point in her career, but it seemed like a really sketchy class for the best actress category, one where there wasn't a clear winner. Let's give it to the one who hasn't been awarded, like a Nicole Kidman, a Penelope Cruz, or an Olivia Colman. Kristen Stewart she's younger than anyone else there, pretty much. She's going to get nominated again, most likely. So Chastain seemed like the logical choice here, and I just like seeing her have that moment, because it felt like Will Smith being basically getting rewarded for his years of service. Jessica Chastain putting out such great work for such a long time. She seems like a true film nerd. I could just see that in her. So I'm happy that she got the win here. But what do you think about Chastain winning?
Yeah, definitely. I don't even know if it's in her top 5 performances of all time, but I would definitely say she deserves an Oscar at some point because of her prior work. So this is the year to do it. You mentioned that with all the other nominees. Just seemed like that was okay. If you have to pick somebody to give it to here, let's just give it to her, because she already should have one. Okay, fine. The dress, right when I saw her, I was like, damn, that looks like someone that's going to be doing an acceptance speech tonight. That's honestly at the red carpet. When I saw it, I was like, damn, that
not scandalous, not trying to show off to
but still looks regal,
great. Belongs at the Oscars.
It sounds stupid, but it's true. And also I'll say this, that sounds stupid, but it's true. She did a good campaign. Campaigning matters. She kept consistently telling everybody on Instagram stories, Insta posts, everybody saying, and all of her prior acceptance speeches to other award shows how great the other people were in other nominees were. And Best Actress, there were a lot of different nominees at all these different award shows. She kept on top of these movies. So good for her for that. She also recognized the makeup crew, costume design, Tammy Faye, obviously a huge part of the role.
Transformation.
Consistently gave them the shout out. When they won the Oscar earlier in the night, she was right there. She campaigned it perfectly throughout the time leading up to the Oscars, and it did it perfectly Oscar night. Now the speech, a little all over the place, hit on kind of almost too many topics a little bit. Then it kind of made her look like she didn't know. She was rambling, and I was like, all right, what are we doing here? But at the end of the day, happy for I'd say Faye, not the greatest movie, but she deserves an Oscar. Awesome.
It was weird that the speeches, they talk about Amy Schumer wanting to have Zelensky on here, and no one really brought up Ukraine, which is the
Mila
biggest.
Kunis on. Mila Kunis is there, and she didn't talk about it. She talked about that movie that she briefly was in, or whatever.
She was in the 4 Days one,
song,
nominated for Best Original Song. But it just felt weird that they love to bring attention to world events and also domestic issues happening within the country. When it came to the biggest international violent conflict since World War II, they decided to just abstain from talking about it completely. It felt like I didn't mind that, but at the same time, this is kind of shocking, because what the Oscars are known for, and these people trying to kind of basically have an imprint on on these social issues and international issues. It was just shocking that no one really brought that up. But that's what I got for the winners. And Ricky Fox, any other losers and takeaways before we jump into our wrap up here of the 94th Annual Academy Awards?
I think I don't want to bring because we already talked extensively about it, but to bring it back to Will Smith for
You
a
have to.
second here,
You have to.
like there's two clear losers, I think, from that we didn't really talk about.
Ooh.
One, I would say Venus Williams, the nip slip, that was bad. Like the Oscars broadcast, like didn't know what it was doing. It like cut, it like stopped. They showed the Oscars logo across the screen, but they kept the audio playing for Will Smith. Then they went back to the broadcast and they
Tough
clearly
night for
showed
King Richard.
Venus Williams. Yeah, it was just like this is during the King Richard highlight, like right here. So like clearly King Richard, Venus, Serena Williams, the Williams family, losers on the night when I should have. And they were in the Beyonce video. That was very awkward because Beyonce wasn't there and it was virtual, like that song in the beginning.
Yep.
But then
She's at a
they were
Compton
there
tennis court.
and it's just like, what is going on? And then the song, like, is, you know, the song isn't like everyone loves Beyonce and Williams, just, but like the song's kind of slow and boring. There's a lot of the songs I would say are also losers.
Oh,
I know we didn't
songs.
talk about,
We got to talk about Bruno. That song's not very good, bro. I've been holding off from listening to this song. I listened to it in the moment, and the moment that actually was the best part was the part that's not even in the song. It's the Megan Thee Stallion part. When I heard that, I was like, damn, that was actually awesome.
That was a good freestyle. That was really good. She killed that.
I was like, damn, like that like when they started, like she was talking about the Oscar, I'm like, there's no way this was in the movie. And I thought that was the best moment. I thought the other song that was performed from Encanto was better than We Don't Talk About Bruno.
I'm telling you, Encanto is so overrated. And this song, I think, highlighted how overrated this song was. Yeah. This performance, I mean,
that'd be a TikTok song, right? We Don't Talk About Bruno.
Yeah, they didn't. That's another thing the Oscars should have done. TikTok. That's how this song got huge. We didn't incorporate TikTok in the Oscars here with that song. This song wasn't nominated for an award, but
in Billboard charts. How is that? TikTok, we don't talk about Bruno. Like when they're doing that, I'm just like, how is this song like actually catching on? What is happening right now? Like that other song, that dude that with the beard that was singing, I'm like, damn, this guy is slaying it right now. That guy murdered.
But again, like
so much better than the Bruno song.
I would also say the performances in total were losers of the night. You had that one by I forget what her name, but she's kind of old, and I forget what it was. Oh, I think that was the Mila Kunis song.
Oh, Reba? Is that about Reba?
Okay, maybe not. But whatever. Billie Eilish, like
murdered it.
But like it's still like I don't know
why she's not wearing the green hair. Why is she not wearing the green hair?
Yeah, right.
Come on.
Beyonce wasn't the best situation there. Like a lot of these performances were lackluster.
You didn't. Whoa, time out, Ricky. You didn't think Billie Eilish was good last night?
I think she was good. I just like, it's just her singing. Like, I want to see a show.
She's not a
Hugh Jackman.
It's a James Bond song. You think Adele is dancing during Skyfall? I think Billie Eilish slayed it. I thought it was awesome. Loved it.
Okay, man. I think she was good. I don't know.
It sounded great live. Like We Don't Talk About Bruno did not sound as good live as No Time to Die sounded live. That song was electric. I want to see a show. After hearing that, I was just like, damn, that is probably a top 3 Bond song in my opinion. Behind Live and Let Die and Skyfall. Probably No Time to Die is up there, right? Number 3 for me.
Interesting. But yeah, okay. I don't know if I agree. But moving on, I guess another loser from the Will Smith incident. This is going to be like every time we have an Oscars, you say, oh, whose Oscars was it? This was supposed to be whoever wins Best Picture usually wins it. So like this is, and like Coda, like he had won 3 Oscars, The Hands, like it was a great moment, great thing for the deaf community. But like Will Smith, this is going to be the Will Smith Oscars.
Yeah.
Right? It sucks.
But it's going to be, but I mean, I don't know. I thought it's totally going to be, but when they think about Best Picture, when people remember the Best Picture, the fact that Coda won, right, is a huge deal. And Troy Kotzer, we didn't really talk about him too much, but you knew he was going to have an absolute banger of a speech. You knew that he was going to steal the show when he went up there. Is there anyone more likable in the world than Troy Kotzer right now?
He had the hat on, the scally cap.
It's only a matter of time before he is going to be introduced. And I would say he was in The Mandalorian season 1. I think he was like a soldier or something like that. I can see him like being in like a Star Wars universe, like production or a Marvel production, something. I think his star is like so far on the rise right now. It's absolutely meteoric, and like everyone's gonna want him in their next
He's
production.
having like a J.K. Simmons type start here. You get an Oscar late.
So likable.
Yeah, likable. Gets his Oscar late. Was in a lot of work before, but gets his Oscar later in his life or career, and now he's gonna go on because he's so likable. He's gonna go on a rise here.
And then speaking of J.K. Simmons, dude, another talking about like tribute to a movie like we didn't really feel necessary. What the heck was Juno? Why are they showing a tribute to Juno, a reunion? Is that
the
like,
Oscars?
They're forcing like Elliot Page like to have an appearance like right there. Is that like that's got to be the driving force, right? Who's asking to see a Juno reunion?
Again, it's the Oscar. The show that's supposed to honor the Oscars sucks at honoring the Oscars. That's what we do. The show does. Like it's seriously, they don't know how to do it.
The same year they give a reunion for Pulp Fiction and The Godfather, which are very much deserving. So they give tributes to White Men Can't Jump and Juno. Like, what are we doing? Like, why those movies? Like those four? Oh, and Bond. Like Bond goes with The Godfather
again
and goes with Pulp Fiction, but then you have those other two. It's like, damn, like who asked for this? This is why people tune out because, like, man, I don't like. A lot of people haven't seen Juno. Why would they watch Juno now? It's like there's no point to it. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a forgettable movie, but it's one that people just have no reason to return to at this point in time. You know, it just
that's a good way to put it.
So
you did a nice spin zone on that. That's a good way to put it.
Because like honestly, it's a funny movie, honestly, and it is. It's just not. It's not very rewatchable, and it provides a lot of great life lessons. But it's not one where, man, like, hey, family movie night, let's turn on Juno. Like it's just like, what's going on? We had to make one major decision here, Ricky Flex, winners and loser of the night. We got to talk about Chris Rock. Did he takeaway here? Is he a big winner or a big loser of the night, or neither?
I wouldn't say loser. Definitely not.
I think he's a winner.
I think if anything, he's a winner because it gets him back in like the talk. Like no one was talking about Chris Rock. Like he's back now, I think. And if anything, it's neutral then because I don't think anyone's talking about how like below the belt the joke was or if it even was. So I think it's a win then.
Yo, Netflix if they're smart, they're signing him to a couple stand-ups.
Oh my God.
Netflix is signing to a couple stand-ups. But the thing is, like Chris Rock, if he fought, like imagine he just started brawling out against Will Smith on the stage, he would come out as a big loser. But the fact he ate the punch and also didn't stagger. He took the punch, hand behind the back, kept his composure. His response, like, dude, what is happening right now? And then the fact that he says, yes, I'll keep there was a moment where he thought about throwing another joke.
Yes,
there was a moment that he's like, because he said, I'll keep my wife's name out of your mouth. He goes like, okay. And then he's like, well, and he was going to say something else.
Yeah. And then he also said, I did a G.I. Jane joke. Like I could have done so much worse.
The fact that he held back that joke. If he did another last second, like jab, he would come out as a loser. The fact that he held back and he let Will Smith be the absolute loser of the moment, it made him look better. He did not look weak, in my opinion. He took the hit and then he kind of staggered a little bit. He said like, okay, and now I got to present the documentary. I mean, the best, like the Oscar for best documentary. He stumbled a little bit. That was his only mistake at that moment. Right.
But it shows how real the moment was though.
And he was like,
they made him vulnerable. Like it was.
Imagine if someone else was presenting in that moment, bro. If it wasn't Chris Rock, like there's no way. Will Smith has to have a relationship prior to with Chris Rock. There's no way if like imagine, I don't know, like imagine Jake Gyllenhaal was presenting that and somehow made that joke. He's not going to go up and hit Jake Gyllenhaal, but he has a comfortability. He's going to just walk up to Chris Rock and smack him. You know what I mean? There's got to be a prior relationship there. And imagine if it was a woman who said it, he wouldn't go up and just confront that woman. Like the fact that it was Chris Rock in that moment, it kind of lended to Will Smith taking some liberties.
So this is, I thought I saw this on Twitter yesterday. So Chris Rock hosted the Oscars in 2016. And at that Oscars, he said Jada boycotting the Oscars is like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited.
He was in the monologue, and then he also called
Yes.
out Will Smith for Wild Wild West and saying like he was because that was the year he thought he was going to get nominated for concussion and everything. Was this situation 7 years in the making, 6 years in the making, Ricky Flex?
Yes, and I'm looking at this timeline, like, dude, like he was in like Chris Rock and Will Smith. Like Chris Rock made an appearance on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They co-starred together in a movie. Like Chris Rock and Jada Pinkett Smith were both in Madagascar.
Apparently P. Diddy said that those two made up afterwards. I don't believe it. There's no way. There's no way.
And you saw Will Smith did post an apology
on a national level.
Yeah.
There's no way they're okay already.
Yeah. And we already mentioned how, what do you call it? That Chris Rock won't be pressing charges. And like Will Smith just issued an apology Monday night saying how sorry
also good for Chris Rock, by the way. Like him not pressing charges, also why he is like a winner in this moment. He's like, I don't need this, whatever. Like Will Smith is the one who's coming out looking bad out of all of this.
Yeah. And people that are saying this sets a dangerous precedent. Like, I don't think so, because I think how bad Will Smith looks in here. I don't think anyone's ever going to do something like this again. If anything, they'll just mock it. Like fake storm the stage or something. If something like this ever happens again, no one's ever going to do this again.
Like, just because of the backlash. Do you think Will Smith will be invited to next year's Oscars?
I think he has to be, and then he'll get audience. He'll get an audience.
I think he doesn't get I don't think he gets invited back.
I think he does.
I think 10 years down the line, he presents with Chris Rock. He presents the Oscar for Best Actor.
I can see him doing that next year.
No way. No way. Next year? Are you crazy?
Yes.
Are you talking about viewers? Is that why?
Yes, viewers, and also they'll make up in a year.
I feel like the Oscars at that moment, they were just so unsure of what to do, and they couldn't kick him out because he was going to win the Oscar.
Will Smith's not going to present Best Actress next year, because Best Actor always presents Best Actress next year.
He will. No. Hell no. They don't want him back there after what he just did.
I think they'll like do it.
I think they do want bigger viewers.
They'll do it with the viewers.
Yes, if this is the Golden Globes, I'd say that, but this is the Oscars. I feel like they won't do it because, like, we're not. They
let him go on. Low. They could have not let him go on.
If they're smart, they have Chris Rock present again next year, not Will Smith.
No, if they're smart, they have Chris Rock hosting next year.
Oh my god. Oh my god! You see David Spade jumped in on Twitter talking about it.
Oh my, his boy. What did he say?
Yeah, I saw a tweet. It was like he said like it was a G.I. Jane joke. He said ... And then but can you imagine if like I saw on Twitter it was like Will Smith entering the parking lot. This is what he sees, and it's like grown-ups with like Rob Schneider, Kevin James, Sandler, like all in a row on a tweet. And I just thought that was hilarious to see. Imagine like Adam Sandler hosting the Oscars. I think that'd be awesome. I thought about that earlier.
It'd be sad he never had one.
Yeah, but hopefully he'll be there more as a nominee rather than a host. But that's gonna do it for the Oscars recap. It's going to do it for the Oscars recap. And what I want to jump to now, Ricky Flex, is a special moment that we had for the Batman. This wouldn't be a drive-in podcast episode without a mention of Matt Reeves' most recent foray into the superhero universe, the DC universe, Robert Pattinson's debut as the Cape Crusader.
Oscar winner Greg Fraser. Shout out for Matt Reeves on Twitter for his boy. Hopefully he's going to be there again next year for the Batman. My prediction is that he will be. So we have to talk about another huge debut that happened in a deleted scene last week that it came out after we released last week's episode, but we had the much anticipated debut of Barry Keoghan with Robert Pattinson in a one-on-one scene in Arkham Asylum. We got obviously a teaser at the end of Keoghan's character. We didn't get a clear look at him. We still didn't get that clear of a look during this deleted scene that was released on Twitter. It seemed a little bit of like a Twitter sensation. Like people were going crazy. Joker's Joker, you know. But I want to get your thoughts, Ricky Flex, starting off on the way that Keoghan looked in the scene. What were your thoughts based on what we saw here and in comparison to what we've seen in Jokers from the years past? Yeah, so we got the look. For the most part, we got like what his face looks like here, and I'll tell you what, it doesn't look pretty. It's
repulsive.
I think they honestly did it too much. Like I don't like looking at it. Like I really don't. Like I think they way overdid it. But the scene itself, and before they actually show like a clear view of him, like the blurred vision of him, I thought looked great. And that's not supposed to be a shot. Like that's actually supposed to be like good. I like that. Like that. Whatever. Like it looked like the Joker. It looked good. But the actual scene I thought was good. But I'm happy it wasn't in the Batman. I don't think it would have made sense just to throw the Joker in as like a Hannibal Lecter type thing, like interview, and it's just gonna be one scene and not throughout the movie. No, let's do that next movie. I would rather much see that and have him be a more integral part of it, and maybe even take it over, or just be a little intro for a third movie when he takes it over. So overall, like I thought it was good. I love how Matt Reeves released this. I love these deleted scenes, especially these ones that are highly anticipated or things like that. Like the Joker, it's the Joker. So I liked it a lot. Didn't love it. I don't love the look of him, but at the end of the day, was satisfied.
Yo, I loved it. I love the look of it. I thought like this is like the Joker we saw with Joaquin, with the paint and everything on, and then you think of, I don't know, Jared Leto is a clean cut looking Joker. This one is like, this guy's messed up, and this guy's seen some crap, and the fact that, it's so weird. It's like with these scenes, with the trailers, and also this deleted scene, the audio is hard to make out at times, but when I saw it in theaters, it was so clear. Maybe because I was more locked in, but the audio, I had to find a transcript for what Joker was saying exactly. But I love how there's this prior relationship already established between this character and Pattinson. He's not the full-on Joker yet. I can't wait till we find out more about him. It's setting the tone for the relationship between these two. I think Barry Keoghan, I like this choice for a Joker because the actor is not too big to, let's say, refuse an appearance in the Arkham Asylum series. I feel like Barry Keoghan is the type of guy who would appear in that series as the Joker, if you know what I mean. Right, because that series, I assume, is going to start production way before the sequel to the Batman is. And the fact that they're going to have this Arkham Asylum series, you have to bring up the Joker now that you have this deleted scene reveal, then you have the scene at the end of the Batman. So that's extremely exciting. Hopefully we get a little more insight on his character there and maybe how he got sent into Arkham in the first place. But it seemed like they talked about, like, Matt Reeves, the congenital disease and like why his face looks like the way it does. But also, it looked like, even though he has that disease, it looked like he still was like dumped in a vat of acid. You see his hair; he's got like splotches of hair at certain points. He looks extremely out of shape. It looks like he is just an absolute mess. So I would have liked it better, but maybe if he was like more of a physical like foe to a Pattinson, you could see them going in a one-on-one battle, but like almost like a Leto, like looked like he got yoked up for the role. Like Keoghan looks like he's just like a fat slob in this movie, which is kind of weird to me. It just doesn't feel like a Joker we've seen.
Yeah, and I was actually gonna say, like, I'm happy that like he's differentiating himself, right? I like not repeating the same Joker. Now, the Jared Leto Joker definitely differentiated itself from like the scars of Heath Ledger and the what do you call it? The obviously just before Joaquin, but Joaquin, like clown element, Jack Nicholson, the gangster. Here is like, or whatever you want to say for him, but here like definitely differentiated as just a psycho, but like a looking like one, like a monster. Like he does look like a monster.
Yeah.
And
which I love. I love that. It looks like
it's just hard to look
a lot
at.
of terrible things in his life. And
which is good.
And like him go, like it doesn't fit in the mold of the movie. The movie's already way too long to have him just go visit the Joker just because he's a serial killer and he wants to get to know another serial killer. There's not really a direct connection whatsoever, but it was just an excuse for us to see, like, get excited about the future of this franchise. So I respect that it's a deleted scene. I think that was actually genius. And it has you excited for like an Arkham Asylum series. Like I think like marketing wise, genius move. But I have a question. Sorry. I was gonna say I had a question for you, but you have something to add on?
I also wanted to say this. I just think the Joker as a character is too big for a television series. I know what you're gonna say, as in like nothing's too big for a television series anymore, and we kind of have to do it now.
No, he won't be the main character. I'm looking for him to have a couple scenes. He won't be the main character. Paul Dano won't be the main character either. I don't know who will be the main character, to be honest. You could, as I said before, have a scene where it's like Commissioner Gordon going in Mindhunter style like to interview all these different like killers or all these different villains in the Batman Rogues Gallery. That'd be electric. You want to expand the universe in that capacity.
That's a good idea.
But I do want to say this scene you saw. There's a blog coming out where I'm doing the best like cinematic moments between Batman and Joker, but I just want to pit this scene against another recent Batman and Joker sequence. Ricky Flex, thinking about Zack Snyder's Justice League, thinking about the Oscars cheers moment you talked about with Barry Allen entering the Speed Force. But what do you think about like Jared Leto with Ben Affleck in the Snyder Cut versus the scene you saw today? Which one would you say is better?
If we're clipping this for YouTube, it's not going to be good because I think this was better than the Leto Batfleck. I think it was. I really do. I think
it's better shot.
Leto, yeah, I agree with that too.
I like the audio.
Sorry,
how
Zack
it's like
Snyder.
you could tell when he's speaking through the screen, through
Right.
like the wall, and then they switching up the audio. The reveal of the character is huge, but you also had a differentiation in terms of the look of the Snyderverse Joker. You know what I mean? And then you have the look of the Batman in terms of like comic book elements that might make you a little more excited. You got the mentioning of the death of Robin, talking about the death of Harley Quinn. Sorry, I've just cucked you there. I apologize. But I just think like there was a lot of excitement after that scene. And the fact that you have something to look forward to.
The excitement is better than the scene. Here, you're like, it's like you could say, the anticipation is better than the scene. But I think this is actually like, the other one's total fan service because literally we're never going to see it. So the Snyderverse. This one's like, we're going to see it. So you could say, it's just like, it's teasing us a little bit. Anticipation here.
Right.
Like it was also just very good directing, very good acting. Like it was actually a good overall scene here. The Leto one, yes, has the comic book elements like you just mentioned here, but it also just like kind of was just like a playful thing.
Yes. 100%.
Like Leto just talking about like jerking off Batman, like just like a little hand around. Like that's just not like
weird. Yeah. But also you got the Batman dropping the F-bomb in that moment where it's like, whoa, like that was cool. And now that was the moment everyone was looking forward to, and you were getting it in hour 4 of the Snyder Cut. So
the last freaking minutes.
I did want to get your reaction to that because that's what I think of recently in terms of Batman Joker moments, because we had the Joaquin movie and you don't have that moment, right? Obviously, unless you're talking about him like putting his fingers inside of Bruce Wayne's mouth like a freaking weirdo, which is also one when I look back on one of the most cringeworthy Joker scenes of all time. Any other final thoughts before we wrap up our talk on this deleted scene?
I think the Hannibal Lecter for the second movie with a different Batman villain, like a Mr. Freeze or something like that, for the second movie would be my preferred thing, and then save him for the third movie, or just not even for the third movie. But I just don't want to rush it. You know what I mean? I really don't want to rush this Joker. We just got an Oscar win from this Joker just 3 years ago. I really just want Perry Keehan to have a chance to like establish his own Joker. You know what I mean?
You know how there's this thing going around on the internet right now where in that deleted scene, Barry Keoghan steals the paperclip from the folder for the files that Batman gives him. I think what they should do in the Arkham Asylum series, they have almost like a Darth Vader Rogue One sequence, or like a Luke Skywalker end of Mandalorian season 2, where the Joker has one special scene where he uses his paperclip to break out of Arkham Asylum. And that's his one moment in the Arkham Asylum series. I think that would be an absolute electricity. And I think that would be like the one moment you get from him. You see like a tease of the future, and also he's on the loose going into the sequel to the Batman. That would also be phenomenal. Just want to throw that out there.
Damn it. That's good too. That's good.
All right. That's going to do it for episode 83 of the Drive-In Podcast. Make sure you're subscribing to wherever you listen to your podcast, whether it be Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, Stitcher, the whole shebang. Make sure that you hit that follow button. Make sure you're also subscribe to the YouTube. This episode will be on there. We're cutting up clips on the regular. Make sure you're also following us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at the Drive-In Podcast. That's going to do it for episode 83. Until next time, we will smell you.